The Israeli-Palestinian conflict is a long-standing and deeply complex political and territorial dispute centered on the region of historical Palestine. It has involved multiple wars, conflicts, and ongoing tensions over the years. I'll provide a brief overview of the major wars and key events in the conflict up to my knowledge. Cutoff date in September 2021. Pre-1948. The roots of the conflict can be traced back to the late 19th and early 20th centuries, when Jewish immigration to Palestine, then part of the Ottoman Empire, began to increase. Tensions between Jewish and Arab communities grew as both groups sought self-determination in the same land. 1947 to 1949. The United Nations approved a plan to partition Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states, with an international administration for Jerusalem. The partition plan was accepted by Jewish leaders but rejected by Arab leaders, leading to the First Arab-Israeli War, also known as the War of Independence. When the war ended in 1949, Israel emerged as an independent state, and neighboring Arab countries took control of the remaining territories. 1956. The Suez Crisis, also known as the Suez War, occurred when Israel, France, and the United Kingdom invaded Egypt after Egyptian President Gamal Abdel Nasser nationalized the Suez Canal. This crisis had complex regional dynamics and did not directly involve the Palestinians, but it further heightened tensions in the Middle East. 1967. The Six-Day War, a pivotal event in the conflict, saw Israel launching a preemptive strike against Egypt, Jordan, and Syria. Israel occupied the West Bank, Gaza Strip, Sinai Peninsula, and Golan Heights as a result of this war. The occupation of the West Bank and Gaza Strip would have a significant impact on the Palestinian population and lead to further conflict. 1973. The Yom Kippur War, also known as the October War or Ramadan War, began with a surprise attack by Egypt and Syria on Israel during the Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur. The conflict ended with a ceasefire, but it highlighted the continued tensions in the region. 1987 to 1993. The First Intifada, a Palestinian uprising against Israeli occupation, began in 1987. It involved widespread protests, strikes, and civil disobedience in the West Bank and Gaza Strip. This uprising eventually led to the Oslo Accords in 1993, which established a framework for peace negotiations, 2002-2005. The Second Intifada, or Al-Aqsa Intifada, erupted after a visit by Israeli politician Ariel Sharon to the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound in Jerusalem. This period was marked by increased violence, suicide bombings, and Israeli military operations in the West Bank and Gaza Strip. Ongoing, despite various attempts at peace negotiations, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict has persisted, with periodic flare-ups of violence, settlement expansion in the West Bank, and disputes over issues like the status of Jerusalem and the right of return for Palestinian refugees. Efforts to reach a lasting resolution continue, but as of my last knowledge update in September 2021, a comprehensive peace agreement has not been achieved. Please note that the situation may have evolved since then, and I recommend consulting up-to-date news sources for the latest developments in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.